In this episode, we're talking about the future of Relic Runner, and we've got an Armadillo ethical dilemma. Well, hello, all of you beautiful people out there in Minecraft land. How are you today? I am fantastic. Wait, Gamma Boost, thanks for asking. My name is Vid, and welcome back to another very exciting episode on the IgnitorSMP server. And let me tell you something, we gotta talk about Relic Runner. And to really talk about Relic Runner, we need to get into the weeds. Well, not this much of the weeds, don't worry. We're not gonna do a huge redstone discussion, although I am gonna talk a little bit about the redstone in a few minutes. But first, I wanna show you this beautiful little collection of wool and blocks right over here. You see, this represents IgnitorSMP Season 3. Let's take a quick peek at what I'm talking about here. This little birch plank over here represents December 2023. We started our season in December of 2023. This block right here represents that entire month, 4 weeks where we were producing content. Then comes 2024. This blue block represents all of 2024, and then it comes 2025, of course. And the yellow blocks represent all of 2025, and these two black ones, but I'll talk about that in a minute. You see, we started, like I said, back here. There were several months of, gearing up and digging holes and preparing Relic Runner and all of the redstone, doing the designs behind the scenes, making the art, making the sounds, getting all of the redstone designed and in place. And finally, it got to August 2024. This is when we actually opened Relic Runner. We kept Relic Runner open for the entire month of August, the entire month of September, and then the entire month of October, and the last week of October, that's when Relic Runner closed its doors, level 1, with the anticipation that we'd be designing levels 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, maybe I'm ridiculous, but I thought, designing levels 2 and 3 and 4 would be pretty fast after all of these months of prepping. But guess what? November went by, December went by, January went by, and of course these are kind of the slower YouTube months as well, so I kind of took a little bit of break from Relic Runner, knowing I'd have time to get back to it. But during that time, I did a little bit of redesign work on some of the cards because I did discover a bit of an issue. Then we kind of got back into it. I spent January working on that issue. We're now here. We're at the beginning of February, and yeah, we've actually got more of the season behind us than we have ahead of us. Now, we don't have a fixed end date for our season yet, but the goal is probably going to be to have about 24 months worth of season. That means if we started in December, or maybe 23 months, because we might take a month off, we're planning to end probably, just guessing here. Again, don't quote me on this. Maybe October, the end of October is when our season will end. And then maybe it doesn't end there. So maybe we have some time in November or maybe December. And then we start fresh in January with season 4. We don't know. The point is, if I want to have, a good 3 months worth of time to play Relic Runner, well, I only have 5 months left. That's to design levels 2 and 3 and 4 and get all the redstone done and built and everything on the server so that we're ready to open. Yeah, that's not a lot of time. Now, luckily, I have some fantastic friends on the server, and they have helped me a great deal. I actually got all of the members of the Igniter server to build levels for me, or parts of levels. Nobody built a full level, but they built parts of levels. So I have levels 2 and 3 completely designed. They are basically designed and ready in my creative testing world, but not built on the server yet. Obviously, far from it. I also have to do a bunch of redstone work to them before I'm ready to create the schematics. But I'm hoping, maybe in the month of February, I could be working on that, March, and then maybe open April 1st. I don't know. This is very hopeful for those 2 levels, and that gives me a few months to work on level 4 by myself. Because I really want to do level 4 by myself. I think that's kind of a goal I'm setting for myself. But here, yeah, there's no label for April 1st or anything. But and like I said, don't quote me. But I'm hoping April 1st is about where I can launch Relic Runners level 2 and 3 together. Yeah. But in the meantime, that's still a long ways away. So I really want to get level 1 back open again, just so that people can play. There's people on the server like Mr. Sir Green who have been around for months now, who joined the server just after I closed Relic Runner, and so they haven't played. Sandy Sparkles joined right in that last week. She was able to play like once or twice and then never play again. Yeah, there's actually been more time since Relic Runner closed than the whole time it was open. Yeah, that's disappointing to me. I never wanted that. I wanted Relic Runner to be open for most of the season, not just a little bit of the season. So I'm going to do my best to get that going. Now, there is a problem with that logic. I discovered some issues with Relic Runner, and I'm going the wrong way. I want to come over here and show you what those problems are. The first problem I want to talk about is this, Mad Dash right here. This card has been a little bit of a problem. In fact, treasure in general has been a bit of a problem. That is, this card, like, basically people were entirely reliant on this card. It was paying 10 treasures out when you were able to obtain Mad Dash. And I thought 10 was too much. I considered dropping this to 5, and I thought that was too much. And then I considered dropping it to 3. I think that was just too little. So I ended up settling on 4. So now if you manage to trigger Mad Dash, you're going to get 4 treasures paid back in return. And I think that's a good balance. Speaking of treasure, this is actually where I've done all of the work. Treasure. There's another problem with treasure. For example, here is the common treasure card. When this card is played, you get 1 treasure added to your queue. That's perfect. You can have up to 3 of these in your deck. 3 treasure cards means 3 treasures played. What happens when you step up to the 2nd level card? Well, here it is right here, the 2nd level card. It's called Prosperity. You used to only get 2 treasures for this card, which is crazy. Like 2, and then you could have 3 of these in your deck, which means 6 treasures. I don't know. It just felt like it wasn't enough treasure. So I ended up upping this to 3 instead. And then, you know, spoiler, but there's a level 3 version of the card, which is the rare card, which has not yet been released. But the level 3 version of the card used to be 3 treasures, which is what that is now. It's now up to 5 treasures, and there's some other fun stuff. There's also a legendary version of that card, which does a lot as well, but I'll talk about that when the time comes. But there is another problem. And the other problem is these 2 cards right here. Take a look at that symbol right there. That is the instant play symbol. These cards both drop treasure. This one drops 5. This one drops 10, which I still like because it's single use, and that's okay. But the problem is that they drop them at the same time. And yeah, you're probably thinking to yourself, that's not really a big deal. And under normal circumstances, it wouldn't be, because most cards, they get shuffled into your deck, and a card gets drawn every 30 seconds. Think about that. If you draw a card and 30 seconds goes by, there's 30 seconds to process redstone. That's, you know, 4 pulses for treasure, 3 pulses for danger level, whatever. And then the system needs to get ready for the next card. With these instant play cards, they happen at the very beginning of the game. So these cards might be played back to back within like a second or 2 of each other. And all of this stuff is starting to conflict. I'm going to take you over to my redstone testing world, because I want to show you exactly what this looks like and basically visualize it, because I'm a visual learner. You'll get it. Welcome to my creative test world, and yes, this really is my Relic Runner and Redstone creative test world. And this behind me, by the way, this right here, this giant block, this is actually the current version of Relic Runner right there. And when I say current, I mean this is the current version of what's on the server, plus all of the enhancements, all of the level 2 and level 3 stuff that's already in. Spoilers, I can't show you any of that stuff, but what I can show you is right over here. These are some little test setups that I have set up. Check this out right here. I have got a circuit, and I'm not going to bore you with the details here, but when I push this button, it's going to send a series of pulses. This is a redstone clock, and it's going to pulse this dispenser right here, and it's going to spit out some ice blocks. So let's just push the button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. I get 5 packed ice blocks. And guess what? This is just mirrored on the other side over here. If I push this button, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 ice blocks. Beautiful. So Imagine, if you will, that this represents how the game works when cards get processed. Say a card comes along, gets processed, and it tells me I need to be delivered 5 ice blocks, and this circuit gets activated. But then this card plays and tells me I need to get 5 ice blocks. Well, watch what happens when I push both these buttons more or less simultaneously. 1, 2. Okay, am I going to get 10 ice blocks out of this? No, I actually only got 7. Why is that? Well, that's because these redstone signals were actually conflicting with one another, both trying to do the same thing, and basically they were pulsing incorrectly. So how do I solve this problem? Well, the answer, of course, is right over here. So here I have the exact same setup. I've got my little pulsar set up to drop ice blocks into this water stream from this dropper. And the same thing over here, set up to drop ice blocks into this dropper. And now if I push these 2 buttons simultaneously, or more or less at the same time, I'm going to get all of these ice blocks dispensed, and they're all going to end up down here at the same time, and I'm going to get the full 10 that I was supposed to. Now all I need is another circuit completely down here, which is basically going to pick up these ice blocks and count them. I can drop ice blocks into this water stream as fast as I want, and I'm always going to get the right number as long as I have a separate dropper for every single card that needs to process, at least all of the instant play cards. All right, let's take you up to the circuitry of Relic Runner. And I know this is very confusing here, but what you can imagine, look at this hopper line right here where it says Relics cards. These hoppers are where the cards are going to come along and they're going to cross a bunch of these things, which are item filters. And when they get to some of these like this, they're going to see, oh, is that supposed to be the Calmly Crawling card? Then yes, it's going to get pulled out. Or here we have the Tranquil Treasure and the Dazzling Drops cards. These are 2 drops that we know really happen. I was just basically processing those down here by sending redstone pulses straight out to my line that pays out treasure. But now I've got them feeding to this complicated dropper system, which drops into water. And then I have all of this water stream collected and bringing them over here to a separate dropper. And this dropper is going to pulse a number of times equal to the number of items it receives in the dropper. And that's what's actually going to send the signal back to the real line for treasure. And right now I have it broken because I was testing, but that will go in. Furthermore, because all of the items are going to end up dropped in this space here, I need to get items back into the droppers up there so they're ready to dispense again. So I just have this hopper minecart, and that's going to collect the items that are dispensed, go up, 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 all the way up here, and then it's just going to drive across all of these hoppers, which is going to refill the droppers. And I think that's a pretty elegant solution. It does take a couple runs of the minecart to refill all the droppers, but hey, at the end of the game, everything should be completely reset and ready for the next player. Hi, this is Vid from the editing room, and I have to go back and correct myself because after I recorded that clip last night, I went back and changed everything here. I replaced the minecart with a second water stream because the minecart was just too slow. So I still have this system of droppers underneath which feed down into this main dropper, and every time an item goes into this dropper, of course, it pulses my treasure line. Those items get dropped into the lower water stream, which now brings those items over and up into the upper water stream where they pass by these honey blocks and get brought back into all of these hoppers. And all of these hoppers are completely full right from top to bottom. That way, exactly the right number of items will always be in the hoppers. I actually had to build the same system over again up here because I realized I had the exact same problem with the pink line, which is my noise blocking line. Purple, of course, is treasure. Pink is noise blocking. Here we have a couple cards that are instant play cards that do block noise. So I have them feeding into droppers, which feeds into this dropper, which again pulses the noise line with a dropper, and then all those items feed down to the lower water stream, which come back up and go over these hoppers, which then refill the droppers. I also decided to make a significant change to the way treasure is processed in the game. Again, I don't want to get too much into the weeds here on the redstone and how the redstone works, but I will tell you that I had something called a treasure queue. Now, just imagine for me, if you will, when a treasure card is played, let's say that treasure card is supposed to give you 3 treasures. It's going to drop 3 treasures into the treasure queue. Now, I have a separate clock that's running, and it's pulsing every 15 seconds, and every time the clock pulses, one of the treasures is going to be removed from the queue and then dispensed into the game. That's basically the way it worked. The problem I was having was that, let's say there were 20 treasures or 30 treasures in the queue, that treasure clock, even if I tried to speed it up, it was really just making the players sit around and wait. I had a lot of times where the players would go into the dungeon, they'd have their treasure cards played, and they would just stand in a corner somewhere. They'd go find themselves a safe corner, just stand there and wait until all the treasures played, and then they could actually go through the trouble of collecting all of the treasure in the dungeon. And that's really not in the spirit of the game. The spirit of the game is to run as fast as you can through the dungeon, collect as many treasures as you can, and get out before the danger level gets too high. Well, the way I am solving this is by eliminating the treasures queue completely. Basically, whenever treasure gets played, it goes out of the dungeon. Just immediately. If 3 treasures get dropped, bang, 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 those 3 treasures are instantly going to be distributed throughout the dungeon. If 20 treasures get dropped, bang, 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 you get the idea. 20 treasures throughout the dungeon. And just in case you were wondering, that simplified system now looks like this. Remember all that redstone I was just standing on? Yeah, this is the new version. It's a little simpler now, and now I'm making use of this copper bulb as well, which is pretty cool, and scaffolding, which is a really convenient way of sending a signal up instead of having to worry about these pistons. It's pretty much instantaneous transfer of signal. Well, I shouldn't say it's instant. It actually takes the same amount of time for the signal to get up, but the nice thing is you can change the signal at the bottom, and all of the changes just cascade. It's really, really cool. Anyway, you should try it. Scaffolding in your redstone, fantastic addition. Unfortunately, here's the tangled mess of redstone that I still have on the server because I have designed all of this changes in my redstone creative world, but yeah, still got to destroy all of this stuff and then transfer all of these changes into the real world. I made a ton of other changes to the game as well. Things that, unfortunately, I had never really thought of and then had to consider and redo, but they all have to do with other cards that have not yet been released, mostly the rare and legendary cards. All in all, I made changes to 14 cards, about half of which were uncommon and rare cards, and the other half, yeah, you guys haven't even seen because they are rare and legendary cards. So that is something really cool to look forward to, just knowing that all those cards are now going to work the way they were originally intended, even though you'd never seen them before. But right now, I need to get over to the A.R.S.E headquarters because I think Solo is starting to work on repairing some of the damage that was done in the lab. All right, I'm just going to come on down. There's Solo now.
Oh, hey.
Hey, I see you're making some repairs to the laboratory.
Yeah, it's about time. A lot of bugs were getting in, so I just fix the wall a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know where all the blocks went. The armadillos must have chewed right through them. That's crazy. I didn't think the armadillos would get that strong.
Yeah, this is really not good from a PR stance. We got a lot of the public is now like figuring out that there's some experiments going on, and now our experiments have escaped.
Yeah, and not only that, I don't know what's going on with the other A.R.S.E members. Have you seen like Dippy or Blackie recently, or Jay?
No.
Even
haven't.
Wind. I think the last time I saw Wind was at the Dark Auction, and that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think people aren't too happy that I sold Shelly in the Dark Auction either.
I wanted to kind of talk to you about that. That was, I mean, everything's legal at the Dark Auction, I guess, but like, I was kind of surprised that you chose to do that.
Well, I knew that you would buy it back.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was looking at it as kind of a little bit of a money laundering scheme, right?
Okay.
So you could transfer me money without like transferring me money.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
You're not recording, right? You didn't. No one heard that, right?
I did kind of review some of the logs earlier, and so it was almost like something happened in our systems, whether intentional or not, where a lot of energy was passed from the Ravager over to the Armadillos all at once, and then nothing at all.
I don't know. So are we sure that the ASS wasn't involved in any way? Like this was
I don't.
Experiments escaping on their own.
I don't think we can be sure of anything.
Wait, did you just hear that?
I did. Wait. Look.
Glass breaking.
I think I saw a name tag downstairs.
What?
Is that?
What's going on?
Oh, I might have seen this.
It's the wind sword. What are
Wait,
you doing?
Wind? Where?
No, it's not.
Oh, what?
Are you stealing armadillos?
I don't want to be a part of this. What are you doing to armadillos?
What do you mean? We're helping the armadillos. That's what we do.
It's all about
Helping them? Are you
keeping armadillos safe.
Your whatever blood? I don't know.
Well, we're combining DNA. That's what, like, the whole idea is that we're making the Ravager stronger, more resilient. Like, we got to protect them from the A.S.E. Like, they need a chance to stand on their own. Look at these, like, defenseless creatures. They've got nothing. They need something, and that's what we're trying to do, is help them.
Yeah, using science.
It seems cruel to me. Why should they have to fight? We can easily fight for them.
Yeah, but we can't always be there. Like, if the A.S.E. shows up and starts kidnapping armadillos, like, from the wild, and then putting them in a giant incinerator like they were, like, what chance do the armadillos have? Like, we can't be everywhere at once. The armadillos, we need to give them, weapons. We need to give them better armor, better strength, better speed, so that they can fend for themselves better in the wild.
Like, if you would have seen Spud here, who's not here for some reason anymore, but beside that, like, the A.S.E. can't harm him. Like, they can't put him in a furnace or anything, and that's what we're trying to do. Just help them along in their little evolutionary path a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems forced to me.
Well, yeah, it is forced.
You can't force that.
I mean, the way I think about it is like, it's like, oranges. Like, they can't grow oranges in all climates, and so they genetically modify oranges so that they'll grow in more climates, and then more people get to experience oranges. With armadillos, it's the same, right? We have to enhance their natural abilities to make them survive in more and more climates. Right now, you only find them in the savannah. What if we could have natural armadillos in, the cold biomes, in the winter areas, or in the temperate? What if they spawned in the plains? Like, this is what we're trying to do, is basically promote a better, more robust armadillo than was ever available before.
They're not some product you can just update. You guys are so blinded by this idea of creating strong armadillos that can help you take down the A.S.E. You can just take down the A.S.E. You do not need to do that to the armadillos.
So wait, are you going to join the A.S.E. now? You think the A.S.E. is better than us?
No,
they're good guys?
Absolutely not. I've started a new organization called the ANUS, and I'm taking them there.
What's ANUS?
Armadillo Nurturing and Uplifting Shelter. It's not funny.
Okay. But it sounds like holistic
pools and like yoga mats and stuff.
It sounds a little floofy to me. It doesn't sound like you're doing anything more than, I don't know, putting armadillos in a different kind of jail and just waiting for somebody else to come along and kidnap them.
We're protecting them and giving them a good life.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Locking them up in a test tube and experimenting on them.
In the long run, I think
just pulled these
good,
two out from
stronger, faster, better armadillos are good for armadillos.
Yeah, and you know what? You actually hit the nail on the head when you said in the long run. It's about the greater good, sacrificing the few for the many. That's what science is about, making sure long-term there's a plan that all armadillos get to benefit from the sacrifices of a few.
If we had 50 spuds, I think we could take down the
ASS
pretty
You want to
true.
use them to fight? That's insane.
I don't think so. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
They're defense. They're harmless creatures. They're not predators. They should not be used to attack.
Well, maybe they should be predators. Maybe we need to build
them to become stronger. So
exactly.
They can attack.
Or you could just give them a good life and let them live it out properly.
I'm not seeing the problem here. Right?
I'm not either. I don't get
science. We are the good guys. We've stated that a million times,
Yeah.
and we're competent, and we're using our competency to make armadillos bigger, stronger, faster.
Absolutely.
Right,
And we're
confident
gonna-
my ASS. You guys, you guys are
Can't
so
believe-
blinded. You guys can't just say we're the good guys and be the good guys.
But we are the good guys. You've even said we're the good guys. Are you?
Yeah,
a
that's back
liar?
when we were the good guys.
If you feel like you need to give these 2 armadillos a good home, then you go ahead and take them. You know, we've got plenty of armadillos upstairs that we can draw from. We can refill our experiments. We can continue what we're doing. You give your armadillos the best life you think you deserve, and we'll see whose armadillos outlast the other. That's all I can say.
And if you see Spud out there, just stay away. Just don't go near him.
Yeah, and if you see Shelly out there, please let us know, because we want our mascot back.
Yeah.
Tilly's not just a mascot, okay? I'm going to take all of your armadillos. I'm going to put an end to you, and you're just gonna have to watch. Goodbye.
I think.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. But where did you go? Where did we all? We're all gone. Yeah, wall it up. Wall it up.
This
You know
is
what?
a mess.
It occurred to me we probably should have taken his key card, because that's how he got in, right?
Oh man.
You know what? Let's reprogram the key cards. Then nobody who has one will be able to get any more, and we'll be back in control.
There you go.
There, perfect.
Yeah, we deserve control.
Yeah,
We're the only good guys, I think, left on this server.
I think you're right. And that, my friends, is unfortunately where I'm going to have to end this episode. Simply out of recording time again. It seems to always happen. But you got a nice long episode this time with lots of Relic Runner stuff, with lots of A.R.S.E shenanigans and whatnot. Oh, we're going to have to see what becomes of all of that. Yeah, Relic Runner temporarily closed, but opening again soon. That's the major takeaway this time. If you guys liked this episode, please do me a favor, click that like button. I'd love to see those likes and comments down below. Plus, if you want to check out all the other Igniter members, you can check out their links. Are all in the description down below. I always put the links for every server member down in my description. Check those out. If you want to see more great episodes from me, hey, check out the playlist that's on the screen right now. And the video below that is the video that YouTube thinks you would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode!